This needs to change. Over a month into the game, and Vanish Wars, they are, man, key draining, repetitive, and there are ways to win. You can counter when you lose a Vanish War, but having more key is king. And if you play a good player and you lose, you get sent across the map like a ping pong ball, half your health is gone. This is one of the few things that could be improved in Sparking Zero. In this video, I want to talk about more improvements Bandai could make to Sparking Zero. I already talked about punishing rage critters and adding a forfeit function to the in-game menus, as well as making instant sparking mode a one-time use in matches in a previous video, so check that out. Now, back to Vanish Wars. The only way I know to counter a Vanish War when I lose it with no key is super counter, which is very high difficulty, or a revenge counter to avoid getting sent away. There is a tech with Future Trunks and some other characters, but I wouldn't rely on that, and it could be something that they patch, and you don't want to be limited in your character selection. Now, here's my idea for vanishes. To decrease the Vanish War, Bandai could increase the amount of key vanishes take in those Vanish Wars, or they could, after each player's vanished once or twice, they could have a clash and then players return to neutral. I don't think making vanishes more difficult in the Vanishes Wars, so like decreasing the window to press it, would work. I think vanishes is a great function in the game, and I think it's more the amount of vanishes in these Vanish Wars that take, like sometimes you go up to about 10 vanishes. That's way too long in the game. I think the top solution would be to bring back the clash from Tenkaichi 3, where there are several like vanish clashes, like players are just like it's like Dragon Ball, where it's flashing all over the map, and you have to press a button each time, and then the players get sent away, and then you can't combo into that, so you press triangle afterwards. And so then that would lead to another Vanish War, so then players get sent away and then you can return to neutral again. Now, my next improvement, like, have you ever faced a super defensive player? They're holding perception constantly, so okay, you counter that by key blasting or grabbing them, but grabs don't really work, and then they hold guard as their last defense. These players are very difficult to play against, and I do feel like the game does reward defense over offense, which in my opinion, no video game should reward defense more than offense. I think offense should be slightly over defense in all games. I do like the variations of defensive counters, and I like the variation in playstyles. I don't think every player should be a super offensive player or a super defensive player. My improvement to the game would be, I think all counters should use key or skill points. Not both. Now, we'll start with the guard. This should take some key when you press guard. Because whenever you get a guard break, you lose that little last bar of key, and then you can't do anything, and you're like breathing heavy. Your character's breathing heavy. But it should take about maybe a quarter of a key bar, just to add some risk to it, so people can't just hold down guard. Because if you've ever faced in training mode, you've ever just put the opponent on guard, it's quite hard to get past it. Obviously there are several ways too, which is great, but then perception. I think perception is the biggest one. I think perception needs to take key. Every time you press perception, it should take about a quarter or half a bar of key, so that this way players can't just spam holding perception, or just keep pressing circle and then going into Sonic Sway, because Sonic Sway drains your opponent's key. I think adding some loss of key to perception when you press circle to hold your stance will help there, so people can't just spam perception all the time. The only counter that should be free is the counter to grabs, where you knock someone away when they're trying to grab you. That's probably the only counter that should be free in the game. Another small improvement, I think it would be quite big actually for offense, is that movement shouldn't take away key. Like sidesteps don't take away any key. So dashing slightly towards your opponent shouldn't take any key at all, or they should just decrease the key usage that it does, because it shouldn't be the case where pretty much your only option is to drag and dash every time, because that can be countered very easily once you start going into the higher ranks. Now, before the final improvement, I think this will probably be the biggest improvement on the game, but damage needs to be reduced for all attacks and all characters. The amount of times in singles match I've faced an MUI Goku, 2 bars of health, and they use their ultimate, and I'm just like, I'm dead. You're dead. You're dead, and the match is over in sometimes less than a minute, 30 seconds. I think damage just needs to be reduced across all attacks. Ki blast needs to go down. Melee attacks, especially for the fusion characters, it's insane. You know, super attacks and ultimates by like 25%. You know, this again will just help the matches just be a bit longer, and you know, it shouldn't be a case where you have 2 bars of health and you're like, damn, I'm dead. Once you hit once you get hit with an ultimate, I think you should have, let's say for the MUI Goku, if you get hit and you have 2 bars, you should have like a bar of health left, so then at least you can still fight, you know, after the ultimate's used. Now for the final improvement, I think we need to get rid of unblockable supers and unblockable ultimate attacks. I think every attack should be blockable, and it can take off a whole lot of ki and some health, but it should at least be blockable. If you're able to guard before an attack, you're able to guard on time, it should be blockable. Because if not, then all supers, or at least all ultimates, should be unblockable then. Because the amount of times I've used an SS2 Gohan or an SS2 Goku, and I've used their, you know, Super Kamehameha and it's been blocked, whereas someone uses, I don't know, a father-son Kamehameha and that's unblockable, I don't think that's fair. Because again, in the series, they're both the same type of damage, you know. So why is it that for Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, his ultimate is unblockable, but for Super Saiyan 2 Adult Gohan, it's not unblockable? Obviously, using vanishes as well is higher skill, but that's okay. But that shouldn't be the only option that you have, or sidestepping. I feel like there should be a third option as well, because ultimates should be something where it happens rarely, and you have to set up very well. Whereas just sending someone away and they're able to, you know, to take off that much damage, the fight ends too quickly. I think you just need to make all attacks blockable. Now, another issue that I have, I think a lot of people have it, is Bandai need to sort out this glitch where you have to let go of, you know, R2 on PlayStation to do an ultimate, or else your character just starts pump faking. He starts dancing, and then you've lost your window now to actually hit the ultimate. That's all the improvements that I've seen from other people, and that I thought Bandai could do to make Dragon Ball Sparking Zero better. Like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts, and have a great day.